We're here on the floor of PDAC 2025 with Alastair Neill, who is a Critical Minerals Institute director and one of the top world experts on rare earths and critical minerals. Alastair, how are you today?
Very well, Tracy. How are you?
Fantastic. It's lovely to see you. And of course, we were discussing prior to this interview, Trump and his focus, of course, being on transactional deals. So with that, let's just hit the ground running here. I'm going to ask you some questions about what Trump's doing, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So let's start with Trump and Greenland.
Greenland obviously has a lot of potential. There is a challenge, though, because of the size of the country, only 60,000 population, 2/3 of those outside the capital. They're mostly based on fishing and so forth. There's not a lot of technical capability, but also any chemicals that are needed for processing are going to have to come in there. So it will make operating in Greenland typically more expensive than places like in Europe or North America.
Okay, so the obvious next question is Trump and the Ukraine.
I took a look at a map, and they keep talking about rare earths in this potential deal. That's a minor part. They're looking at nickel, cobalt, titanium, and people meld it all together, which is, an issue for me because they aren't rare earths. They're rare minerals, potentially, or strategic minerals, but a lot of the potential resources are in the south and east of Ukraine, which is Russian-held territory presently. So I don't know how you're going to convince Americans or Western investors to go into Ukraine under the current sort of standoff. There are potentials in the north, but again, until a permanent ceasefire with some sort of guarantee of protection is put in place, no one is going to go in there. And if they do, unless it's operating right now, it's 10 years down the road before anything comes out of the ground.
Okay, so for fun, I'm going to give you $500 million, Alastair, to invest in getting rare earths, the rare earths we need in North America, to production. Where would you invest and where would you be seeking rare earths?
I would expand it also to South America. Brazil, I think right now there are a number of very good potential projects there. North America, in the US, given permitting and so forth, that's a bit of a challenge. The challenge obviously is it's one thing to make the rare earths, it's another thing to make products that consumers can actually use, including the military, and that means going downstream even further.
Okay, going downstream even further means what?
Producing them, mostly, obviously the target section is magnets, so you would have to have metal and alloy production, and then magnet production, and then component and assembly manufacturing, because people don't, in general, just magnets. They will buy something with a magnet in it, like a motor.
Jack Lipton keeps saying to Trump, go to Canada. Canada's got all the critical minerals you need. We just need some capital. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Jack on that?
In most, yes, because we have some very good potential opportunities. Challenges, some of them are reasonably remote, like northern Quebec. So you will have to invest in infrastructure to be able to get those projects, to be able to bring products to market. If you're in northern Ungava Peninsula, that's a long way to anywhere. But if you put the infrastructure in place, there's antimony, copper, nickel, all sorts of potential opportunities, even some rare earth ones. And the cost of shipping is reduced opposed to all the other alternatives.
Of course, the Critical Minerals Institute currently tracks 51 critical minerals that have been identified from the major markets around the world. You have highlighted 22 that you think are most critical of the critical minerals. Would you mind pointing out to our audience a couple of the criticals, why you think they're the most critical, and why they should receive more attention than the others?
Obviously, gallium and germanium, particularly because the recent moves by China to restrict exports to the US, those are very basic in semiconductor construction, and there are limited options outside of China, particularly in gallium. So there are zinc projects around the world that could potentially extract that, but that needs capital investment, and it takes a little bit of time. Another one that China recently moved on was antimony, and that as a fire retardant and also in use in munitions is critical as well for the U.S. defense.
And of course, it was just last year when I spoke to Alastair Neill, and he told me, watch gallium. He said it first, and he was right. For those of you who would like to learn more about the top criticals and why they're critical, please go to the Critical Mineral Institute, where we've listed Alastair Neill as our top expert. Thank you.